You found Hawaii Matters. I'm your host, Kathy with a K. And have you heard about the island of microplastics in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? It's not a solid landmass, though it has a presence to be seen and monitored. With me today, Kristen Kelly with the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources. Welcome, Kristen. Let's get into it. What is your role and responsibilities with DLNR, Division of Aquatic Resources?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm a part of DAR's Protected Species Program, and my role alongside my teammates is to coordinate the protection of state-listed endangered or threatened marine species and their habitats. So we perform outreach and education, as well as respond to any marine animals of concern and also to respond to any deceased whales.
How did you personally get involved into the marine aspects of the world? It's like the land wasn't enough, you know? Are you like a water baby?
Definitely a water baby, and there's just no other feeling like being completely immersed in water. I was just captivated by looking underwater at all the crazy creatures. It's like a totally different world.
Kristen, when you were growing up, were you surrounded by lakes or the ocean? What's your origin story before coming to Hawaii?
Definitely lakes. And I had two older brothers that would goof around with me and tell me that there were freshwater sharks that liked to eat purple nail polish specifically, and I really loved that. So I read all about sharks and everything, and that brought me to the ocean later on.
Oh, I love that. They got you excited and interested in what's factual. Oh, I love it. Snopes.com, watch out. Kristen, the DLNR DAR's Marine Debris Rapid Response Program. For me, what is marine debris and what defines it?
So the formal definition is marine debris is any persistent solid material that is manufactured or processed, so created by humans, that ends up in a body of water. So there's three main types of marine debris that really impact wildlife. So that's plastic, like you said, microplastics, so that break up into smaller pieces. Derelict fishing gear, so that's things like nets, ropes, really large stuff, as well as derelict vessels because they'll break up, they have toxins within them, fuel. Hawaii receives so much marine debris because it's basically in the center of the Pacific. In the Pacific Ocean, there are different gyres, so swirling masses of wind and water.
The water current.
Water current.
Okay.
So Hawaii catches this plastic debris from all over the world, and some of it's been swirling in our oceans for decades.
Oh my gosh. That sounds really intimidating. This is Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K with Kristen Kelly of the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources. And we're going to learn about marine debris. A word that's not used in day-to-day conversation is derelict. For some, that might be slander, but in regards to this derelict, meaning it's abandoned, there was a lost and found and just never retrieved.
So a lot of things, if you've ever worked on the water, people lose their cell phones all the time. They fall in. So sometimes, these large nets, they're being used, but then they snag on the bottom and pieces of it rip off, or a ship is in large seas and it goes overboard. It's usually not on purpose because these nets are really expensive.
Yes.
So it's mostly accidental. Sometimes it gets thrown over purposefully. They are really good FADs. So FAD is a fish aggregating device.
Okay.
So anything floating in the water is going to attract animals underneath it. So unfortunately, it's a good thing to put out if you're going to go fishing in that specific spot. And FADs do wash up in Hawaii quite often.
Wow, that is amazing. So the DLNR DARS MDRRJK. When I was looking through the various references, I was like, oh, acronyms are alive
So
and
many
well.
acronyms.
Kristen, why is it important for Hawaii, all of its islands, to be educated and more aware of what denotes marine debris? And then also what serious injuries can happen from entanglements, and not just marine life and wildlife, but I also understand like the birds and Entanglements, I automatically thought of people who are maybe new to free diving, may not be familiar with what areas offshore, off our islands, may be popular fishing spots. So that might also be dangerous. But I've not heard about that in the news. But with the DLNR, has that ever been reported? Is that something that people need to be on the lookout as well?
So people keep safe, yes. If there's large masses of rope and stuff floating in the water, they can be like sort of just at the surface, so you can't really see them. So if you're in a boat and you're driving, it could stop the boat really quickly if it gets entangled in the prop. Also, it could ruin the entire boat's propeller in that system, so you'd be kind of like dead in the water out there. If it gets wrapped around sailboats, most large ships can get through it. But yeah, they're navigation hazards is what the Coast Guard refers to them as.
Is that something that the Department of Land and Natural Resources, your Division of Aquatic Resources, is that part of your role to educate mariners and just people who are casual beachgoers? Or is that just a shared responsibility? This is why we're talking.
Yeah.
So the public at large. Okay. I'm caught up.
It's a shared responsibility. Yes. The boating is with DOBAR.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that one?
No, that's a new acronym for me.
Let's see if I can get it right. Division of Ocean and Boating Recreation.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm a participant.
You are.
But I didn't know about that. Okay.
They're in charge of all the harbors and boats and like the navigation buoys and such like that. So that would be further offshore would be DOBAR with educating boaters about stuff like that. And also the Coast Guard really does a lot of that for our safety.
Hawaii Matters. I'm your host, Kathy with a K. We are here with Kristen Kelly, marine debris, and actually covering examples of the serious injuries that can happen from entanglements. And Kristen was citing vessels, water vessels, and also people's just being careful.
Yeah, and I'd say most captains of vessels are always very aware of what's going on, and they're always looking out. Also, because you never know what's going to pop up in front of you, especially around like whale season. Humpback whale could just pop up. So I feel like most captains are always on the lookout when they're not being distracted. Yeah.
That reminds me of a couple of things. The Paris Olympics, in Tahiti, the surfing competition. There was a whale breaching in the distance, which was amazing. But there was another viral video of people just enjoying the water in another part of the world where a whale just happened to pop up. It was just like, I need air, popped up. And some people might read it as them getting testy with people in the shared space. But it's like, no, you just, you exhale, inhale. If you sneeze in public, that's just something that happens.
You just happen to be right where the whale decided to come up. Yeah.
We're talking with Kristen Kelly of the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources. We are learning about marine debris. I'm Kathy with a K, your host. How is DLNR, Division of Aquatic Resources, the Marine Debris Rapid Response Program, how is it helping our islands?
Yeah, so as a part of our job, we wanted to reduce the amount of entanglement hazards that are out there for our amazing endangered species here in Hawaii. So like Hawaiian monk seals, sea turtles, our whales, and even sharks and anything else that could get entangled, especially like coral reefs. So our main goal is to get that marine debris, those entanglement hazards, off the shoreline or off our nearshore waters as soon as possible. So we created a marine debris rapid response program where DAR contracts out different organizations, so many organizations that I will mention later, and they answer a hotline. So the hotline number is 4 DANETS, 833, the number 4 in DANETS. 833-432-6387. Beyond reporting through that hotline, there is also an online reporting form that's run by DOBAR. So you can easily find that by Googling report marine debris in Hawaii or writing that in on any browser and it'll pop up right away.
You're with Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K, your host, and here with Kristen Kelly with DLNR, Division of Aquatic Resources. Marine debris, we think of just plastic bags, netting, but it's derelict debris, things that have been abandoned, sometimes not on purpose. You mentioned mobile phones, things that just kind of fall overboard, especially if you're doing a sunset cruise. It is good to be aware of whatever you bring to the beach to remember to take it out.
Yeah, we always say at least pick up 10 pieces of trash before you leave the beach. Leave it better than when you got there.
If it's a danger for marine life, it's a danger for us on land. For wildlife, for pets, can you say more on the Rapid Response Program and its partners?
Absolutely. We love our partners, and we're so lucky to be working with them. So the only way this Rapid Response Program works is by partnering with so many different organizations, and this is a statewide program. And I know this is short, so I apologize for only highlighting a few of our groups we work with. So going down the island chain, starting with Kauai, we have our rapid response team led by the Surfrider Foundation of Kauai, as well as Ho'omalu Kekai for in-water debris removal. So that's some things like fishing line, lead, anything that sinks, so tires or like super heavy other things that have gotten logged with water that are laying across the reef. We want to get that out of there. On Oahu and Molokai, we have Hawaii Marine Animal Response that runs the Rapid Response Program, and Ocean Defenders Alliance runs in-water cleanups on both Oahu and Big Island. On Maui, the Pacific Whale Foundation answers the response hotline, and both Maui Ocean Center and Sharkastics remove the in-water debris. And last but not least, we have Hawaii Wildlife Fund, and that's the response organization on Hawaii Island.
This is Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K, your host. I'm talking with Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources, Kristen Kelly. I don't know why she's giggling. It's like you have to reintroduce yourself.
It's so long.
It's nice to know that when there is a very specific issue, that there is a department and people under that banner that can address it. And like you said, even though it's very specific, there are a lot of partner agencies that want to assist and are able to help, and it is a statewide effort. I'm wondering about the marine debris from the shore. Is it like when there's like the frothy aspects of the water onshore on the beaches, and how far out is the attention for the Division of Aquatic Resources?
So state waters are within 3 miles, but we definitely usually stay within 30 feet. There are scuba operations, but since it's entanglement hazards and a little dangerous, it's kind of better to do it on free diving or staying shallow. Mm-hmm. So the in-water stuff is usually like 30 to 60 feet, so that's not very far offshore. Yeah. And then with the derelict fishing gear, the rope and line is actually made of plastic, so it floats. So it can wash really high up on our shorelines. So yeah, that would be right on shore.
Does it ever become an issue where it's visible within, like you said, that 3 mile stretch, and it's just like, well, that's 3.5, you know, it's like, can we, or do you assign it to another agency or share that information?
Yeah. So our rapid response network is really only for close-in debris. We want to keep our teams safe. But yes. I did want to mention another program that if there are any commercial fishers in Hawaii Pacific University's Center for Marine Debris Research has a commercial fisher bounty program. And so that means if you're a commercial fisher, you can get paid for removing marine debris out of the water. And it is kind of dangerous work because the nets, when they're wet, are thousands and thousands of pounds. So if you're bringing it in over the side of your boat and your boat's only like 25 feet, it could tip over. So definitely the folks out there know what they need to do. If you're a commercial fisherman and interested in getting paid for marine debris removal, please check out HPU's Bounty Project, and you can just type that into your browser, do an internet search.
That is really interesting. I mean, there are so many people who are, you know, getting back into the water. I think during and after the pandemic, rediscovering their love for water, ocean activities, and the water really cleaned up during those like 2.5, 3 years where travelers, tourists, and locals were just letting the ocean and the beaches and the shorelines just be, as it were.
Yes.
This is Hawaii Matters. My name's Kathy with a K, your host, and talking with Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources, Kristen Kelly. Other aspects of marine debris and finding how close to the shoreline the responsibility is. But I wanted to go back to the bulk net removal. People might worry what happens to the nets after they're pulled out of the water very safely, those agencies. Do you know how they're disposed of?
Yeah, so it's different on every island because we have different trash disposal methods. Our favorite way is when they get reused, like incorporated into an art project or made into a hammock, because then it's not being chopped up, it's just being repurposed. On Oahu, there's a program called Nets to Energy, and at POP Marine, they provide a large bin at Pier 38 where anyone can leave these nets, and reminder for everyone, only nets. And Radius Recycling, that is formerly known as Snitcher Steel, chops them up, and then H-Power will use them in their waste to energy program. So it basically burns the nets to make electricity. Hawaii Pacific University Center for Marine Debris Research is working on incorporating these nets possibly into our roads, but also into other locally needed recycled products. So the main thing we want is for it to stay here and not get chemically changed. On the other islands, most of these nets currently go to landfills, but that's much better than being in our environment.
As a local resident, Hawaii resident, what can we do as individuals, or maybe future community projects? You know how there's the highway cleanup. How can each of us help?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I always think of is just working on using less in our daily lives. We've really become a consumer society, so do I really need a new T-shirt, or can I have a clothes swap with my friends and take what they don't want anymore? Planning ahead when you leave the house, like bringing your own water bottle, bringing your own cutlery that way. But we're pretty good, doing well here in Hawaii. We had a lot of plastic bans and stuff like that. So very proud of Hawaii in that way. You can join local beach cleanup events. Here on Oahu, there's probably like 2 or 3 you could sign up for every week. So there's a lot of things you could do to volunteer. The easiest thing, if you're out and about and see some trash, if you're close to the ocean or not, we live on an island, so eventually it will wash into the ocean. So just pick it up and dispose of it properly.
The DLNR DARS Marine Debris Rapid Response Program, how long has it been in place? And I guess over time, how much marine debris has been collected?
We started it in 2020. It was very small, only had one partner here on Oahu, and that was Sustainable Coastlines. And now, as of July 2024, calculating everything that everyone's removed with all the new partners on board, it's totaling to 70,000 pounds. That is a lot, and people are doing such amazing work. But according to research, it seems like there's about 100 tons of marine debris washing up every year. So we're just going to have to pick up our efforts a little bit more, and hopefully there'll be some changes in the ocean coming up soon with people's knowledge increasing about the problem of marine debris.
What you do in the office, but it also spills over to how you are day to day. How did the two meet?
Oh, I think it's been a really long journey to figure out who I am and what I want to do, and then how this whole program came about. But I think it's the complete and utter love of the ocean and appreciation of what's in it, and then also how the main problems in the oceans are caused by humans. And then marine debris, to me, seemed like something I was capable of helping with. I'm not really into legislation, which is a huge way to make an impact, but like the physical removal of marine debris was really rewarding to me. So I kind of signed up on everything I could do, and I'd say the most impactful thing was going up to the northwestern Hawaiian Islands.
Oh, the archipelago.
Yes.
It just goes on and on and on. Yeah.
The most amazing remote place in the world that is chock full of trash. And people don't even live up there, so it's just being deposited, and to see the animals interacting with it and stuff. I guess it had a really profound impact. And then coming back to home and seeing that it's on these shorelines as well influenced creating this rapid response program and getting the community all involved together in an organized group, and it's really working. Yeah.
This is Hawaii Matters. My name's Kathy with a K, your host. You just heard from Kristen Kelly with the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources. You talk about falling in love with salt water, ocean water. Do you remember that first experience where you were in the Pacific and that really made you want to be an effective, an agent of change, I suppose? Or was there a series of events that happened?
Oh, I'm sure it was a series of events, but I think the first thing I remember is like taking my first wave.
Oh, okay.
And like feeling the rush of body surfing.
Okay.
And then I learned how to surf in New England, where I'm from. And coming here, not wearing a wetsuit, and when the wave crashes over you, you're not like in pain from the cold. It was refreshing. So that was like, wow, okay, this is a really special place.
Which beach was it?
It was definitely Waikiki.
Oh,
that was the first place I ever surfed here.
That must have been amazing, because it's the imaginings of what Hawaii is, and there's Diamond Head in the background and the Pink Hotel. But still, you caught the wave, you got on the beach, and it stayed with you.
Oh, for sure.
I'm so glad that it turned into something where you're helping Hawaii and helping everyone learn more to appreciate the specialness of our islands.
Yeah. Don't feel like I would ever deserve to live in a place like this unless I was trying to help it.
Were there any parting words?
Put the number out there again. We'd really love for everyone, if you ever see any types of marine debris on the beach, if it's large accumulations of plastic bottles or Crocs, sometimes containers fall off ships and there'll be a crazy amount of even bottle caps. We have teams and we'll come get that. So once again, it's 4DANETS, so 833-4DANETS or 833-432-6387, and you can also just Google report marine debris in Hawaii and you'll find the number and our reporting form.
It's so funny. I misheard you, and I heard when the Crocs fall over. I'm like, yeah, Crocs are,
No, it's true. There's Crocs like in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands. An entire container of Crocs.
Oh my!
And so when we go up to remove marine debris, we're always you can't find the same sizes right and left. It's always like 5 lefts and 1 right.
Oh, that's
there's
funny.
Crocs everywhere.
I'm going to see an art exhibition very soon. Thank you, Kristen Kelly of Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources. And again, to report marine debris and netting, call 833-4DANETS, 833-432-6387. To replay or share this episode, please search Hawaii Matters on most podcast platforms. For Pacific Media Group, I'm Kathy with a K. Mahalo.